Hey guys, welcome back. I hope everything's been swell and you've been progressing through your grounded mode well. I'm Gweilo, also known as Harry, and in response to the overwhelming positive outcome of my previous video, Top 10 Tips to Survive The Last of Us Part 2 Grounded Mode, that's a really long title now that I think about it. Link in the description for those who missed it. I cover the main changes Grounded Mode brings, and of course many tips to aid in your quest. I've gone and taken the time and put together a couple more tips, 5 to be exact, and will also share which abilities and weapons I upgraded personally during my own playthrough, which as we know, went smooth.
Come and get me, a**holes! Fucking I'll show you checkpoint! Fuck!
Nah.
Shut up, Steve! Fuck!
It was only $1 extra.
I'm dead. I'm dead! Again!
So before we jump in guys, I just want to give a big thank you to all those who watched the previous video and took the time to leave a comment and feedback. I read every comment and I still have more to respond to. I didn't expect the response it got and I'm really grateful for the support, so thank you, it really does mean a lot. Many of you left some tips and strategies in the comments and I learned a few things myself reading them. So I was thinking after this video is live for a couple weeks, I will make a video recognizing those who suggested tips. So if you have any tips you'd love to share and want to be featured, send me a message with your tip or strategy to my PSN. Don't ask me about the name, and keep an eye on the channel in the coming weeks. Anywho, without further ado, let's get back into it. Here are 5 more tips to survive The Last of Us Part 2 Grounded Mode. Number 1. The Dive Dodge. So we all know The Last of Us 2 features a dodging mechanic. It's very useful and gives the combat a fresh feel. In the previous video, tip number 8 dived, pun intended, into how to effectively use this mechanic and which enemies it was suitable for. But there's more. Dodging can be used with the crouch button to perform a series of quick dodges that are effective for many situations like dodging a dog's leap, fighting a boulder, and even evading bullets. Throughout my playthrough, I threw myself around like a rag doll and was spared damage I should have taken. So it's a real essential move guys, with enough practice you'll be dodging like a butterfly and stinging like a bee. Number 2. The Clicker's Bark. So this isn't a tip I claim as discovering on my own, as I actually found it through the in-game tips that display during loading screens between deaths. I've died over 100 times to clickers and I only ever saw this very useful tip come up once, and I figured it's worth mentioning as many players out there are still unaware of it. I was confused at first on why clickers, which mind you are completely blind, could still find me even when sneaking past. So basically, when a clicker stops moving and begins screeching aggressively in a direction, it's focusing its echolocation or simply hearing to find the player. If you're in the line or in front of a clicker, regardless if you're moving or not, the clicker will spot you. So when you see the clicker's bark, stay out of the way. Happy days! Number 3. Helmets. So throughout the story, you'll come across enemies who have helmets on. Any weapon is effective of course, but if you're looking for a clean kill with these guys, you can try using a variety of weapons that will one-hit kill them if aiming for the head. The ones I personally found most effective was the hunting rifle, the shotgun at close range, and the bow or crossbow. Weapons like a pistol only stagger the enemy, even if you shoot them in the head, so if you have to rely on a weaker weapon, like a pistol, aim for their legs and then follow up with a melee. Regardless, all these suggested use one bullet or arrow. Number 4. Find vantage points. So, unless you're a stealth legend, you can disregard this tip. But at some point, the majority of us will be in a fight and you may continue dying over and over and are frustrated. I definitely had my fair share.
Fucking dogs! Fuck my day up. They just fucked my entire fucking day up. Again. Fuck in hell!
So, what's worth keeping an eye out for if stuck in a fight is vantage points. Take this clip of me fighting on the Capitol Hill chapter on Seattle Day 1. I found a room with only one entrance and then picked off the group of enemies one by one, clearing out 7 or so enemies, and the only resource used was a single pistol bullet at the beginning. It may have taken just under 10 minutes, but resources were conserved, and that's key in Grounded. And finally, number 5, signposting. Now, I know what you're thinking. What the actual F am I talking about? So, whenever enemies are in the area, the player goes from only being allowed to jog to sprinting. Sometimes music plays or you actually hear the enemies talking amongst themselves, which notify you they are nearby. So that's basic stuff. But since Grounded mode disables listen mode, how can you check the area for the enemies if you're unsure of how many are left? Well, there are many signs that indicate how many enemies remain. If there's one enemy left, the majority of the time they'll get on their knees and start begging. Another thing is that the character will say a line to subtly notify the player that the area is clear. This happens regardless of who you're playing as or who you're with. Yes, I understand sometimes during a fight the character says a line, but you know the battle is still going as music continues playing. I also recommend subtitles being on so you can't miss anything. So simply guys, listen/read for signposting dialogue, enemies begging on their knees, music stopping, and the sprint button defaulting back to jog to work out how many enemies remain and if the area is clear. Righto people, so those are the tips, but I just want to quickly mention something I learned since the last video. So I found out you can do Grounded Plus to get the trophy, which for those who don't know, allow you to retain all player skills and weapon upgrades. But everyone said that Grounded Plus is harder than just a standard Grounded, which would make sense as the game basically balances itself out since you have all your upgrades. But I quickly did a look on the main menu, and you know how it says Survivor Plus is harder than Survivor? It doesn't say that for Grounded. So I think Grounded, regardless if you play normal or plus, is still the same difficulty. Look, I could very well be wrong, but I just want to point out something I noticed. So I'm not saying I'm right or anything, it's just an observation. But if you prefer to play with all player skills and weapon upgrades, then go for it with Grounded Plus. Righto guys, so that covers the final tips I currently have to hopefully help you survive Grounded mode. If you're after more tips, feel free to check out my other video, Top 10 Tips to Survive The Last of Us Part 2 Grounded mode. I'll leave a link in the description down below. If you need any further advice or help, leave a comment and I'll get back to you within the day. It can just be a question or you're stuck in an area, that's all good. Whatever it may be, let me know down below. Now, I understand at the beginning of this video I mentioned I'd share which skills and weapons I upgraded, but honestly, the more I worked on this video, the longer it started being, and with all that other stuff on top, it would have been too lengthy in my opinion, so I'll save it for its own separate video, which I've scheduled to release a couple days from now, so keep an eye out for that one. I have another video I'm currently working on that breaks down how to defeat all the various enemies in The Last of Us 2, so if you're not already subscribed, please hit that button to be notified. And as a thank you to all those who've supported my previous video, which has over 9,000 views, thank you so much. Please send me your own tips you have for Last of Us 2 and I'll feature it in an upcoming video. You can reach me through my PSN or by leaving a comment down below. So thank you guys. And finally, I apologize for droning on, but I really appreciate feedback, whether that be a comment or a like. It gets my spirits up every time I see one. It's real small, but a big milestone for me as we're nearly at 100 subscribers guys. So thank you, and again, have a good one.
What'd you call me? Oh, I hate watching this scene. I hate this. Oh!